Good evening to all Indians and good morning to our today's keynote speaker, Maria ma'am. We are very lucky that we are inviting the speakers from India and abroad, and speakers are accepting the invitations so that we are getting daily knowledge on various topics from the speakers. This is the international webinar series running every day, and it's running from last 5 years, and this series runs under the Women Empowerment series. If you see the speakers list, mostly are the women resource persons and they are invited from India and abroad. This series accepts every topic from education, law, business, commerce, environmental, health, everything. And today we welcome our today's speaker, Maria Guevara madam, who is Principal Marketing and Business from Camarillo, United States. Her topic is navigating business challenges. We welcome you with good morning, and I request all the participants to join here, and we request her to start her speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. BETKAR, for the introduction. Good evening to you over there in India, and good morning here in the United States. So thank you for having me today and to present to you and discuss with you about practical and effectual way to navigate business challenges. So without further ado, we'll just look at what the objectives of our webinar is today. So the objectives that we have for our webinar is to reframe business challenges for better understanding so that we reduce anxiety when we're faced with challenges and hopefully to open new doors for opportunities. Another objective for our webinar is to gain a high level yet practical approach to address challenges without the noise and without rushing into making decisions. And lastly, hopefully for this webinar, we would like to leave with a language to better assess the situation and provide you with access to strategic support. At the end of this webinar, we would like for you to learn clear mental models of how to look at, think through, and address business challenges with less pressure and less stress. We also would like for you to learn the basic structure for thinking through challenges, and the key notes here would be with calm, with clarity, and with direction. And after this webinar, we would like for you to learn and gain a greater confidence in performing your leadership role during moments of instability when we have those issues coming up. Now, I will be sharing you these discussion points. First one we're going to be talking about is business failure and success, and also business challenges that entrepreneurs and small businesses and organizations face. We're going to go into human resources or human response to challenges and a little bit about mind workings. And then we're going to be introducing you to a proprietary framework that we have developed to help business leaders navigate through challenges and show you the practical application of that framework, and then give you a little bit of a background of what we do, the Strategic Recovery Advisory. A little bit about me. My name is Maria Guevara. I'm a principal at Core Masters Group, and we do offer strategic recovery advisory to leaders to help them navigate through high-stakes business decisions. And I will share more about that later on after the webinar in itself. I have over a decade teaching at UCLA. I teach brand management, sales and marketing, strategies for entrepreneurial business, at the same time, costume programs in leadership, management, and communications. I have over 20 years of experience in strategy, planning, operations, and communications in various industries, and I do believe in a holistic approach in business and the interconnection of individual with the organization to drive growth and also to achieve excellence. I'd like to start off the webinar with a quote here by Philip Anschutz. He says that research how and why things are, and imagine how things might change. It's actually a good starting point for us to think, how to navigate challenges. We research first and imagine what we can change and what would it be when we make those changes. So to start off, let's go into the background to have a platform for us to discuss, especially with our webinar, Navigating Business Challenges. So let's look at a report by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics on business failure and success. According to the report, 20.4% of businesses fail in the first year, 49% fail in the first 5 years, and 65% fail in their first 10 years. And then if you see on the right side, the success rate, from first year, you have success rate about 74%, and it dwindles down to about 34% in 10 years. Now, you may be asking, why do businesses fail? So according to the same report, businesses fail because, first of all, 42% say there's no market need. So basically, they weren't able to do the research to find out what customers are really looking for. 29% said that they run out of cash. So it's cash flow issue and probably also capital and funding. 23% says they didn't have the right team. 19% says they're bested by a competitor. 18% is pricing and cost issues. 17%, they said it's about poor product offering, so maybe a quality issue. 17% lacked a business model. They didn't have the proper method to gain revenue and profits. And how do they make money? 14% says poor marketing, and the last is they ignore their customers. Let's move on to what challenges do small businesses face. And this is based on Walton Chamber of Commerce in Georgia. And they said that there are 6 common challenges that small businesses face. First is finance, it's cash flow and capital. Secondly, they said it's marketing, an issue about branding, and also how to reach out and communicate to their target audience. The next they said is competition. They may not be differentiating themselves properly, or probably pricing their product or service at the right price point. Some said it's customer service. It's about meeting customer expectations and handling complaints. And then issues about operations, time management, and also integration of technology. And one other problem is employee management, how to recruit, talent, and how to retain them, and how to properly train them. So I'd like to also share with you the Global Business Challenge. And this is from the report, the Conference Boards of C-Suite Outlook. And this is from executives and what they're concerned about, the risk and threats that they see in 2026. 46% or 47%, they're concerned about cyber attacks, especially with the technology that we have today. 42% is concerned about supply chain disruptions because of the political environment that we have. 37% is finding qualified workers. 36% is about the uncertainty that we all face globally. And in line with that is the economic downturn and recession, which is the concern of 36% of executives interviewed. And in line with that too is the regulations that we have to follow. So 34% are concerned about that, and 30% are concerned about artificial intelligence. How will that affect their business? So looking at that, we looked at the U.S. Labor of Statistics. We looked into the global challenges and also small business. I was able to, group it all together. What are the top business challenges that organizations face? So in one category, the focus would be the market. It's about the product offering, the competition, and also the risk factors that they're facing. The next would be the operation side of it. So the value chain and also the supply chain, the business model of how to sell and position the brand in the marketplace. So you have the finance, the cash flow, the funding, and also the regulations that affect the overall operations of the business. The other category would be about people. about team, the culture, how to develop a positive culture within the organization that everybody collaborates and works together, marketing. So communicating the value of the product and the service within the company as well as externally to the customers and to the entire public. The issue is about also customer service. How do we serve them properly? That they would be satisfied with their service, which is the next one, is how do we satisfy them? So the last category that we put in is would be the vision and mission. How do we align all our efforts, all our initiatives to the vision and the mission and purpose of the business so that we grow? So another issue would be the growth. And then retention and fulfillment. Retention and fulfillment of our team members, employees, and also customers. And to be, competitive in the market space right now, we have to continuously improve. So continuous improvement. How do we train? How do we learn and develop? Which is why, Dr. BETKAR and your association or institution have this for continued development. So I'd like to set up another of our mind frame with a quote by Henry Ford. Whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. So before we dive into how do we solve problems, right? We don't just rush into making decisions or taking action. We have to step back and really think about how we think. And that's why I'm introducing to you too the mind workings and also the common responses of people and how to respond to challenges. There are some people who would freeze if they are faced with challenges, high stake decision, they freeze. What they do is they wait for more data, a consensus among people, among their staff, or for certainty. Now, if there's waiting time and if they freeze, the outcome would be slowed growth or stalled growth or no growth at all. Some people, they fight. What they do is they push harder, they do more activities, and they sometimes override objections of their stakeholders or advisors just so that they can move forward. We just got to do something. Now, the possible outcome of that is there's resistance. There's resistance among team members or stakeholders or partners that would shatter the trust. And trust nowadays is very much important with all the information that we have available to us at our fingertips. Some people, they take flight. They change strategies, they change narratives, they pivot prematurely. They change quickly. But if they do that, the possible outcome is just busy work. We're just moving along and just changing things without direction, without purpose. So if that is how people respond to challenges, how do we approach it? Now, we're not going to dive into application. We'll just look into the mind workings. Let's look at the mindset. And this is from the book by Carol Dweck, Mindset, the Psychology of Success. So there are two types of mindset. There's fixed mindset and growth mindset. For the fixed mindset, they claim that intelligence and talent are static and it's just innate. It's just locked in. So these type of people, they desire to look smart. They avoid challenges. They fear embarrassment. They fear failure. They give up easily because in their mind, success is based on inherent ability. You can't grow, whether it's either you have it or you don't. They take feedback as a personal attack and dislike the success of others because they feel threatened. They feel smaller. Those people with a growth mindset, they believe that intelligence and talent can be developed and improved. So these type of people, they desire to learn and they want to embrace challenges because challenges open doors for opportunities, open doors for growth to maximize their potential. They understand the need for effort so that they can be more and they can achieve more and be excellent. They take feedback as a valuable opportunity for learning. And they take it as if, people are giving them means to know about their blind spots, the things that we don't see. And they also find inspiration in others who have met success and who have achieved success. Then when we have the fixed and growth mindsets, let's look at the logical side of things and the creative side of things that, of our brain. and balancing that. So logic is linear and analytical thinking, and there's value to that because it identifies cause and effect and find a single correct answer to the problem, which is good in certain ways in research and data. It's a linear, practical, and systematic approach of thinking, and it's focused on what's already known. So there's value in that. The other side of the brain is about creativity. It's non-linear, it's divergent, it's open. Is this type of thinking is to discover new things, to have new perspectives, to break patterns. So this is spontaneous, open-minded, and unstructured exploration of ideas. So it's a good balance. If a person has the logical side and creative side, then they have a foot, ahead. However, we all know that we all have our strengths. So some people are very good with analytics, which is fantastic. Then they could team up and partner up with people who are creative. So it doesn't mean you have to have both of them at the same time because we all have our gifts. So it's also working with people and knowing what we have and we don't have, and also reaching out to people who can fill that for us and work together. So I'm just going to give a little bit of an idea how that works and with a case study. So we had a client who experienced, a decline in their brand sales. They believed that they were competing with a product of the same type and category, and that they're losing because of the price point, that the competitor is priced lower. So the attempt that they did was to compete by advertising. Okay, so more advertising, but it didn't work because of two things. The competitor was aggressive. They were brazen. They actually copied the concept of the client, their ad concept. So they counted efforts. Whatever they give, the competitor will have it. So it's like, a boxing match. And competitor has more money because they have more sales, more revenue, more profit. So the proposed strategy was to dodge a red zone, okay? Create a disparity between the brand, the client brand, and also from the competition at the competition, and reinforce the value of the brand. Because if we continue on doing what we're doing, then it's not going to work because you're just blowing money away. The application is that we emphasize the premium ingredients of the product. We went back to the basics. We stepped back and went back to the basics of why the product is better than the competition, is the premium ingredients that it has. So what's the point of having premium ingredients? The value to consumers is that it will give long-term health and also monetary value to the customers who buy it and consume it. The result that is we improve customer perception and acceptance for the brand, because now they know the difference between the competition and the brand, which elevated the standing of the product. So now they're not the same. The client brand is higher than the competition, which increased the sales by 250% within that time frame that it was launched, because now people know the difference. So again, I'd like to share with you a quote. I'd like to set up our mind with quotes to tickle our brain to the next learning point. So according to Oprah Winfrey, and she's an American producer and philanthropist, challenges are gifts that force us to search for a new center of gravity. Don't fight them, just find a new way to stand. And that's why we're here. We're trying to find a new, or probably a practical way to approach challenges, which I present to you our framework. We call it our core news framework. And this is based on a simple truth that the quality of decision in business, its management and performance, reflects the quality of alignment of leadership to its business purpose, and the system is all in alignment. And you might be thinking, what does it mean? What does core news mean? Core in itself is the fundamental element, is underlying basis or principle. And news, it means reasoning and understanding. So common sense or practical intelligence. So we're trying to marry the core and the reasoning together. And how do we do that? We focus on the framework of the CORE. And it's also the how we process and how we look at challenges. First, we cognize, we become aware of situation. We think of optimization. We think of how everything relates within the company and with the people around us. And how do we elevate ourselves? Every time when there's changes, how do we keep on getting better? This framework views strategy, process, leadership, and growth as interdependent discipline in one dynamic system, hinged on personal clarity, values, judgment, and resilience. So we saw the business challenges we had and we categorized or we grouped them all together. So now I'm trying to apply it here and look at how does it apply? How does it work with our framework? With the cognize part, we're going to be looking into the market, the product offering, the competition risk factors. So we become aware of the environment that we're in, what arena are we fighting in, who are our competition, so that we are better prepared to, go and do countermeasures. Now, the next would be optimization. We were talking about operations, the business model, cash flow, finance, and regulations. With the optimization portion, we have to think about how do we utilize the resources we have in hand, on hand and in hand, and then maximize that to be more efficient and effective in how we do our business. And then we look into the team culture and marketing. So it's basically about relationships. How do we relate that to people? Because business is really about people. And then how do we elevate it to keep on moving forward, to keep on getting better? So initially we're talking about, the growth and fulfillment. So it's about elevation. So there we have 4 steps: CORE, cognize, optimize, relate, and elevate. So I'll present to you a case study once again, just to give you an idea of, how does it apply? So we had a client with 3 consecutive years of negative or failing sales, despite the fact that they are running a well-supported known franchise at a good location with experienced staff. The attempts for them to go back or get back into the blue line or the black line and get out of the red is that they hired new managers. Every year they hire a new manager, hoping that there's going to be a positive return. Maybe this manager can give new insights or good training points. They also offered employees incentives, which did not really increase enthusiasm, but it actually increased business expense. And they also offered client discounts in an effort to drive traffic and to convert them, but it didn't do the work. Instead, it just increased or decreased profits. So if you see here, hiring of managers, giving incentives, and also client discounts outside, but it still didn't work. So what was the proposal? So we said we have to have a multi-level approach that has training, coaching, promotions, and public relations. Cannot just be answered by one, just to put in a manager and hopefully that would work. No, it has to be supported. One initiative is supported. That's why we showed you the interdependency of the disciplines. One problem may be affected by another problem in another category. So we have to look at the bigger picture. So the application we recommended or implemented, internally, the staff went through creative sales and service process training and also collaborative mindset coaching so that they can work together in a positive way and a supportive way. Externally, we implemented a cooperative promotion within the local area of business. And here's the thing, there's no additional cost. It's only cost in terms of time, because we had to converse with local businesses and also visit them and also develop a flyer to just, inform people around of what's going on within this office. The result is increased happiness level all around. And we know when people are happy, they buy more. When our employees are happy, they are more productive. And your office or business is more happy, right? Then there's more productive and it has good vibes and good service is lined. So it was measured because there's a lot of feedback that came in that people are happy. The clients were happy about the service and also the activity. And the local businesses also mentioned that how supportive the office was or the organization was within the environment, and a good rapport. So it actually increased sales by 340%. Remember, they were in the negative. So now they were out of the red. They grew by 340% because of the multi-level approach. So as we go into the practical application, I would like to share with you a quote by Larry Bossidy, who's the former CEO of General Electric. The execution is the ability to mesh strategy with reality, align people with goals, and achieve the promised results. So with the application, it says, cognize is to identify and frame the challenge. And when we optimize, we identify and maximize resources. And with relate, creating the means to effectually connect and convert. And with elevate is about commitment and continuous improvement. So I'd like to share the steps of how we do that. With cognize, first of all, is to take a step back and breathe. As we said, the human responses, we just freeze, we fight, or we take flight. So it's good to step back and identify and acknowledge a couple of things about how we think and who we are as leaders. Is one, we question about our fears. What things are, why are we afraid? What do we fear? And what are the assumptions that we have in our minds? And what are the distractions that we have currently? And the resistance that we're facing or we also have. Because it's important for us to remove that, because those are stumbling blocks that needs to be identified and also understood and cleared away to make space for new ideas and opportunities to flourish. Because if we are uptight with our fears, then how can we think? We cannot gain clarity if we are bogged down by our fears and our assumptions that may be incorrect. So if we say it's incorrect, then how do we do that? Then we conduct a business review. The key here is objectively examining the accounts and processes to determine why it failed or why is there any issue in the business. So looking at the characters we looked at earlier, in the characters of the market, the product offering, the team, it must be the root cause may be somewhere that we didn't even determine. So we have to discover that. Through the next step is conducting a research. We gain better understanding where the business actually stands. Because how can we solve a problem if we don't know the specifics of it? So we gain understanding through internal data, data that we get internally with the operations, the strategy we do. External data with competitive market reports. We also gain more understanding if we do have quantitative or numbers and statistics from reports that we can purchase or we do have in our organization, and also the qualitative, which gives content or context and meaning to what the problem is all about. So the qualitative may be from surveys or feedbacks from client or internal clients who are employees, and also external clients and stakeholders. And if we do have an understanding, now we do have the a business review, and we also have the research of where we're actually at, and we can frame the challenge. And this is crucial because framing the challenge helps us understand the problem context and the depth, because different challenges require different approach and level of creativity. Moving on to optimization. And now, how do we optimize? Is identifying and maximizing resources. And I'm just sharing here the basic ones. We have the time, money, people, and process. With the time, if we can achieve multiple goals in one task, and if we do prioritize our task and focus on them, then we can gain more leverage in terms of time. It's balancing the operations with the strategy. It's also, how do we do that? We also break down the goals into smaller tasks, action steps. So we also have to know the interconnection between the projects and departments, as we have seen, the interdependency and interconnectedness of the disciplines. In terms of money, let's learn resources or the sources and utility of money. Where can we get money, the funding, and how do we use it? It's also crucial to reduce waste. If we remember the case study earlier, is if you bombard it with just advertising without looking into the strategy or maybe the target audience or maybe the operation side of it. And if we just use money because we think it's it, then we're just, wasting time, and we're also wasting money. We have to know that money should be used to create value. So it's understanding the funding and alternative options that we have to ensure that we have the funding and the cash flow to move our business, to properly forecast and budget our money to ensure that we have cash flow, and also facilitate the creation of long-term value. If you use money to purchase something or take initiative, what would be the long-term value of that to the organization as well as to the people that we serve? Next would be optimizing our human asset, the people. So to do that, we as leaders have to learn more, because we need to learn or to teach by example or lead by example. So we learn more. And then we also teach our employees, our team more. Because if we teach them to become leaders, then we can delegate, okay? Which actually opens up to more time for us to review the business and also to plan ahead. So lead by example, provide training and support the team in their development, and empower them to make decisions at their level. Lastly is the process. Okay. How do we optimize the process? We have to comply, adapt, and use technology appropriately to increase productivity and profitability. So it's appropriate means of technology to streamline operations, to ensure compliance, and also to improve collaboration. This is a key. It's like, how do we streamline operations, and how do we comply with regulations, and how does technology improve collaboration? It's all about communication and working together positively. Relate. How do we apply that? Is creating the means to effectively and effectually connect and convert. So we look into the team and culture. Again, we're saying here is to invest in training and development of the team, to create also a supportive culture. So it's aligning skills development with the business strategy and to respond to the change. And also it's crucial for leadership to develop themselves as well, because it's also the combination of that, team development and training for the team, and also leadership training attracts and retains skilled workers. There's a study actually of that in 2026. Even though you have the AI that's helping us, it also is important to have the learning and development within the organization, because that is what attracts an upskilling of our workers. So there's a study that says if the organization is providing good upskilling or training and development, some employees would actually leave the organization they're in to move to that organization. And if the organization has that, a good solid support for learning, then the probability of employees to stay is higher, retention rate is higher. So moving on to brand and marketing. So how do we relate? How do we use that in converting? Is traffic and conversion, right? How do we to ask or compel people to buy in or trust us? Is branding and marketing. It's about upholding the brand values, what we stand for, and consistency of the identity in all business initiatives. So it's consistency, clarity, truthful communication in all mediums that develops trust and resonance with customers. The next would be, as we said, resonance and relationship or engagement with customers is about customer service. It's reaching, engaging, and walking with our customers throughout their journey from the point that they become aware of our product and service to the time after service, right? After they purchase, and then follow through for that. Because what we want is to develop a relationship, a long-term relationship based on trust. So understanding their pain. And how do we do that? We have to understand their pain. What are their expectations? What do they value? And providing them with care, even though they sometimes complain. But that's how we show service, though. How do we handle the complaints? And we have to remember, oftentimes, the complaints are not really negative. It's a feedback for us to improve. At the same time, oftentimes it's about misunderstanding. So it's about educating our customers. Okay, that's also service. Okay, to bring that rapport, to bring that good relationship, which leads to, if we do give that care and we have a good relationship, is customer satisfaction. It's appropriately responding to their needs at their time and at their pace. We just don't bombard them. We actually acknowledge them. We acknowledge their time. They appreciate their time and the level as to how do they respond. We don't pressure. We educate. We inspire them to work with us. It's about the close and long-term interaction between the business and the customers that develop that trust. And it's based on the quality of the service we provide, the price point, the service that we give to them, the team that we have, the convenience that we offer, and how we fulfill their needs. And then we move on to how do we elevate, because we have to keep on getting better, getting better. So we have the commitment and continuous improvement. So with elevation, how to elevate is we have to focus on the purpose of what we do, why we do what we do. Is the fundamental purpose and what matters most to us and the people that we serve, and the long-term aspirations of both ends. It leads us to, it gives us direction where to go. So with this, we have to outline the beliefs that guide our strategies and our efforts and reinforce that core values in communication, everything that we use when we communicate, to ensure there's alignment to our vision and our mission, and utilize these as a guardrails for review, right? Because if we want, our goal here is on how do we review our efforts. So this would be the guardrail. The next one is how to elevate, is to differentiate and know our value position. This is, yes, it's marketing, but it's also part of elevation. Why? Because it's determining our uniqueness. We got to be unique and try to be the best in the field. And that's how we differentiate ourselves. It's not just, as we said, blow by blow, effort to effort. No, it's about upholding your value and being unique. Your values actually makes you unique. Okay. So highlight the purpose, the direction of the business, and the value that you present in the business, the offering, and the people that you have. That creating, we say that create a unique platform that you can own. Then tracking their performance. So monitor progress against the metrics. So with this, right, with tracking the performance in hand, we can actually revise the plan or activities based on what we're seeing, the performance, the data that we gather throughout the way. And we can also adjust based on changing circumstances to stay on track towards our objective, or retain alignment to our objectives, our goal, and our purpose. That's why we track. So leading into continuous improvement. It's about it's about awareness. That's why we always say about cognition, cognize activities, be aware of the environment. It's about grit, keeping on and being solid to your purpose and the reasons why you do what you do and what matters to you and to your customers, to have that resilience to keep on going, regardless, if there's failure, great if there's failure, because you learn. Failures are not really bad because it just marks what we should not do. Agility to adapt and adjust, and perseverance to keep on going. So we say that, plan, do, check, and act. Plan, do, check, and act. To move forward, to stay focused, to learn more, and change for the better. So now putting it all together, we saw cognize, optimize, relate, and elevate. We know that with the cognize or cognition, it's about looking and being aware of the market and where we stand in the competition. We looked at the optimization about the operations of what we use, the resources that we use, the business model, the finance, the regulations that we have to, to account for. And relationship within the company, relationship we build within the company and outside of the company, with your team, with your communication, with your marketing, the service we provide, and how the elevation, which is the mission and vision and the growth, the retention and fulfillment. Okay, so all of that is guided by the vision and mission. But if we have the interdependency and we all move and we look at the bigger picture and all moves, in sync, then we can have an effectual outcome, an effective and efficient outcome if we look at the bigger picture. Okay, so these are the 4 steps. Now, I'm going to present to you how it all works once again. So we had a client with fluctuating sales, mostly on the downside because the industry they were in was very competitive and volatile. So there was a constant brand switching because it's heavily based on price. So it's relative due to its pricing. So there's no brand loyalty. So their attempt to win is to continue to run ad campaigns, quarterly promotions. Yes, it helped the business survive, but it didn't thrive because there's a strain to keep up with high ad costs. So if you keep on having promotions, you're having campaigns, there's advertising cost, development costs, production costs. And also if you're promotion, the price costs. So it's basically catch-22. So internally, they offered incentives to their sales team, but it didn't help improve, again, the situation because they were focused on the wrong set of people. So even if you incentivize the team, if it's not addressed, that the incentive is not addressed to the appropriate people who needs to be incentivized, then it's also not going to work. So the proposal was to bring the brand to the forefront and with a big impact, but a limited budget. Okay, if you can see here, we're always trying to be prudent in terms of planning. We believe in efficiency and effectivity of what we do to have a big impact with limited budget. So how did we apply that? So we put together a promotional event based on an active engagement and use of in-hand resources. The company was running promotions, as we said, back-to-back promotions. So we capitalized on that movement and actually have a culminating event based on one of the promotions that they have. So we capitalized on the success of previous promotions. We balanced existing budgets. So we've channeled some of the funds towards this grand, I would say grand because it's a bigger impact promotion. And we collaborated with service providers and area businesses. Now it's like we're building that ecosystem for the company. So with all that collaboration with the community, the partners, and also utilizing what we currently have, and also balancing existing budget, not adding additional budget, but balancing it all out. What was the result? Sales was increased by 400% because the momentum that was developed with the promotions from the promo period to the 3 months after. Long term, it changed the perception of the market. So it heightened positive company reputation, which is important to build trust within the community. And they became the driving force for patronage. And so they have a better stronghold of the market. So it surpassed actually the competition. So even if their sales, fluctuate, they are still above in terms of reputation, meaning people would rather go to them than competition. So it improved that. So I'd like to introduce our platform, which is the Strategic Recovery Advisory. This is our offering at Core Masters Group. We actually help leaders restore clarity, regain confidence, and realign mind and business workings. So we look into the brand, growth, trust dynamics, and leadership. So growth becomes intentional and not reactive. So we do have two platforms. We have Strategic Reset, which is a 90-day advisory for crucial moments when there's a breakdown of or misalignment and business becomes unstable. Then we have the quiet rebuild. It will take time to rebuild. So this is about 6 to 12 months of advisory for critical moments when business is gaining traction, but requires a steersman to help, to progress, to navigate through those complexities along the way. Our practice is intentionally limited. So those who are interested to work with us go through a discrete application process. And I have it here for you, coremastersgroup.com application. And once again, my name is Maria Guevara, and it's a pleasure for me to be here to speak to you today. So I'll turn it over to Dr. BETKAR if you have questions. And by the way, I do also have some resources for you to refer to.
Thank you, Maria. It was a great presentation. You have taken so much efforts to prepare your PPT, your plan, and the New Guinea business challenges points you have referred here. That was very studious. Also, give an examples. You have given examples of the case studies, how they are succeeded. Also, what are the business failures? What strategies to be adopted? How we become happier. So all these points you have made very perfectly. Thank you. It's very great to listen you on this business strategies and the challenges of navigating the businesses. Thank you. And now the session is open for the discussion. Our participants are requested to unmute themselves and they can discuss. Also, she has said about the operation on the QR code and the email. So everything with us, so you can discuss with her also. Thank you. Feedback link is available in the chat box. Those who are willing to fill the feedback link, the participants can fill the feedback link for their certificates. So everything was well understood. So if anyone want to discuss with our speaker or comment on her topic, you can unmute and can discuss with our speaker. Thank you from you all participants and thank you from my organization for accepting our invitation and delivering a studious talk on this point, navigating the business challenges. Your experience in the field is so effective that you have introduced the case studies and different examples so that how the business can be navigate all these challenges and become successful in future. Thank you. All the participants can contact you in future also. The link will be available on YouTube and the participants will study the PPT and this show. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. And yes, if you do have any questions, the email is over here for you to reach me. So
yeah. They will contact you on email or on your website.
Whichever is convenient for people. So that's why I put it here. So email or even the website is fine.
Thank you. It's your early morning. You might be having official engagements. So thank you for spending your valuable time with us. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Of course, I'm passionate about education, continued learning. I'm passionate about, business in a holistic way. And we're a global community, and I appreciate you all for being here too, and then continue on and continue learning.
We will also congratulate you and wish all the best for your future success. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, you can leave because we kept here for filling the feedback link for the participants. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.